to Majority Rules. This is a podcast about Mizzou Athletics Majority, which is Olympic sports athletes. So, we have a new season, season 2, and as you can see, pretty much an entirely new team too. So, let's go around and introduce ourselves. Now, all of you are in a different place than when you were when I originally said this. We're going to start with Dylan. Tell us your name, what year you are in school, and what you're covering at this fine website.
Hey everyone, along with Karen, I am a returner to Majority Rules. My name is Dylan Heinrich. I am a junior here at the J School. This year I am covering volleyball, women's basketball, and then a decent helping of softball as we turn around in the spring. So November is a busy month for me, but I'm excited to see it all shake out.
Yeah, and then I'm Henry Chappell. This is my first ever time doing this. I'm really excited to get going, and I'll be covering Mizzou baseball specifically for Rock M Nation. So definitely looking forward to that, and definitely seeing where the program is going, especially after last year, how it went for them, and just seeing how Carrick's going to build on that. And yeah, overall, I'm just really excited to get going, and obviously start with this. I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Sophie Silvers. I'm new to Majority Rules, and I'm a sophomore at the University of Missouri, and I'm going to be covering Mizzou's cross country, track and field, and I'm going to help Henry a little bit with baseball, so I'm excited for that.
Your first love, baseball.
Then I'm a newbie as well. I'm Colin Simmons. I'm also a sophomore at Mizzou, and I covered soccer in the fall for Rock M Nation, and I'm shifting gears to wrestling, and I've also helped out.
And then I'm Karen Steger. I am the host, I guess. I'm also the Olympic sports manager and lead editor at this lovely website. I am not a student, obviously. I work in the dean's office in the J School. J School, best school, right, guys? Yeah.
Yes.
Yay! So, in this first episode, we will be covering cross-country wrestling, swimming and diving, volleyball, gymnastics, and then we'll close out the show with some women's basketball because I feel like that's where we're probably going to go the longest, and then I can cut everybody off. So let's get started with cross country. Sophie, thank you so much for continuing our cross country coverage. You've done a great job now that Abigail has left us for greener pastures.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, so I think what's impressed me most about covering this team is the relationship the players have with each other, as well as the coaches. I think Coach Kyle Levermore, through most of the interviews I've had with him, have consisted of speaking about the players' improvements throughout the season and the confidence he has for the team, as well as their consistency. Also, senior Drew Rogers and freshman Elijah Limo highlight during the interviews the mentorship and relationship they have with one another that has progressed all season long. So overall, the connections they have had with one another have possibly laid the foundation for their meet results.
I love that. Thank you. That was so concise. So they just finished up SECs, right?
Yes.
And they were 5th in both? Is that correct?
Yes, 5th overall. So at the SEC Championship on October 31st, freshman Monica Wenjiku, she placed 6th for the women, and Rogers placed 7th for the men. And another huge highlight for the two of them are that Wenjiku has become the second Tiger in program history to earn the All-SEC first team and freshman honors as well. And Rogers, who became the third Tiger to earn his spot on the All-SEC first team as well. But overall, for Week 5 of the NCAA Division I regional rankings, the men are ranked 6th and the women are ranked 4th. So what's next for the Tigers is they will race at the NCAA Midwest Championship on Friday, November 14th, and that's going to be in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So that should be really interesting to see how they do there and if the rankings kind of change.
What's the meet that's in Columbia? Like, my brain is not working.
Yeah, no, that's the NCAA Championship. So that's going to be November 22nd, I believe, and I'm super excited to see how they do there and kind of what players are going to actually compete during that race.
Yeah. And then, so what's next for you writing-wise, Sophie?
So I plan on writing the preview for the NCAA Midwest Championships I talked about previously, and then I hope to write a feature on kind of Limo and Rogers and how they have had this relationship with each other throughout the season and kind of how they've grown and how Rogers kind of stepped up and helped the team and kind of lead as a senior.
Awesome. It seems like you've developed a really good relationship with Coach Kyle Levermore too. Like you
Yeah.
are always getting to talk to him for your
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, it's so great because Ryan, who's the SID, he's been really helpful to get me like over the phone interviews and in-person interviews. So I'm really glad that I got to talk to Kyle as much as I could.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So now I will go to our new wrestling writer, Colin, who just kind of got thrown into it, like, learn.
No, absolutely. To give some background, so I never played wrestling or got into wrestling much. I volunteered at a couple meets at my high school, but that was like my major experience going into it. So at the Missouri Duels, the first event of the regular season, that was kind of like my first opportunity to like be a sponge and just learn about wrestling. And it was honestly super exciting because I had been around wrestling, but it's so different at the college level because even though all the other teams besides Mizzou, they were either Division two or NAIA programs, they had all their little sections come into Hearns, and it got loud in there. Like Hearns wasn't that packed, but it is just an incredible atmosphere around the sport. And since Mizzou had 3 different duels, there was 30 different bouts. So I had plenty of time to learn the scoring system, and I already feel like I kind of at least have that part of the game down. I'm just trying to get to know the roster of Mizzou specifically.
Was there anything that stuck out to you in particular from your first experience?
In terms of like player performance, Cade Moore, he had the quickest pin of the day. It was 40 seconds into the first period, so that was very interesting to see. He went back to back. He was a back-to-back NCAA qualifier, so I know he's trying to look to build on those performances. He hasn't gone very far at nationals, but this might be the year he can make some noise. And then outside of that, there was 2 wrestlers that are ranked in the top 10 of their respective divisions, Josh Edmond and Aiden Sinclair, and they both wrestled in 2 matches, and both their wins were either falls or tech falls. So just dominant wins is basically what that means. And
Nice.
yeah, those are kind of the standout performers from the first meet.
So I know that over the last couple years, obviously when you weren't covering wrestling, but injuries have been a huge concern. Is that still a lingering issue, or does it seem like they're pretty healthy?
Well, for the most part, like the depth around the team seems healthy. I didn't get the chance to talk to Coach Smith after the meet, but pretty much the highlight player, Cam Steed, he didn't wrestle at those meets. I wasn't sure if that was because of the competition they were playing. Coach Smith just wanted to see other players step up, or if he was injured. I know he finished the year injured, but I was under the presumption that he was healthy. So we'll kind of have to see coming into the Tiger style invite if they are healthy, if he is healthy.
And then I think my last question for you is, because those of us that have been at Mizzou a while, it's so weird to not see Keegan O'Toole wrestling. So like, what was it like to see him coaching and not on the mat?
Yeah, that was the one thing, like, because we got 3 player interviews after the day, and that was the one thing I felt like I could talk about was the impact that Keegan's had moving into his assistant coach role. And pretty much the like consensus is that it's still the same old Keegan. Like it's just that he's sitting in the coach's chair instead of sitting on the sideline with the rest of the teammates.
I love that.
Say
He's like seamlessly
it
transition.
can yeah, it's like having a player that he can resonate with the players a little bit better than some of the other coaches is what it feels like, and pull them aside. And he sees things that it seems like other coaches maybe don't because he's just coming off his college career. But I think he'll have a pretty big impact on a lot of the wrestlers this season.
That's awesome. So what's next up for Tiger Style?
Yeah, it'll actually be the Tiger style invite in Columbia. That's coming back to Columbia after being the last 3 seasons in Kansas City at a high school there.
Yeah.
So that'll bring Little Rock, Oklahoma, Purdue, and South Dakota State. So a lot better competition. 3 of those teams are in the top 25. Missouri is currently the highest ranked of the bunch. And then Purdue is also just outside the top 25. They received some votes. So it's going to be a major difference in the competitive level that they saw in that first meet than the Tiger Style invite. They won it last year, but from what I know, the competition this year seems a lot tougher, so it should be a good test to start the season.
Cool. Thank you. I'm excited to see how their season goes, and hopefully the injuries stay at a minimum, and we can actually see what Brian Smith team can do, because I'm sure that he has been frustrated with how things have gone the last couple of years.
Yep, that's the hope.
Hopefully. I'm up next. I have forced myself back into covering swimming and diving. Fun fact for all the rest of you, I am a longtime former swimmer and longtime high school coach. I didn't want to have just anybody cover it if we were going to cover it at Rock M Nation, because I feel like I would have been mean to people if they did it wrong. So that's what I was like, if we're going to cover it, I'm just going to do it. So here we are. So the Tigers started their year with, it was actually a pretty disappointing start for them. They started their season on the road at Purdue and like basically got demolished. They said after the meet that they were pretty disappointed about how that had gone and that they were kind of looking for redemption this time. So this past weekend, they faced Vanderbilt and D2 McKendree University. It was the Vanderbilt women. Though the men have a team, I don't know why they weren't competing. I am still confused about that. And then McKendree is men's and women's. Mizzou like annihilated both teams. Like, was like 150 something to 50 something. Like, I mean, like absolutely ridiculous. So there are 32 events in a college swim meet. The Tigers swept, so they took first through third in 16 of them. And they actually took first through fourth in a bunch of them, but fourth place doesn't count in a dual meet. It's exhibition. So really they did even better than that. They had a ton of multiple event winners, including freshman Libby Becker in the 100 and 200 backstroke. Carolina Bank, you'll probably hear me talk about her a lot throughout this season. She is very good and like an NCAA competitor normally. She won the 100 and 200 breaststroke. Collier Dyer, who I'll probably talk about a lot this season. He's their best diver, like national team diver. He won the 1 meter and 3 meter springboard. Arizona State transfer Quinlan Gould. He is a junior. He won the 100 and 200 backstrokes. The Tigers swept both backstrokes. Matthew Mortensen won the 200 breaststroke and the 400 IM. 400 IM is the worst event in the entire universe. I can tell you from personal experience. I hate it. Luke Niebrick, who I think looks like Thor, only in the fact he has very long hair. So when he takes his cap off, it's like just this mop of curly long hair. It kind of reminds me of Thor. He's a sprinter. He won the 50 and 100 free. Zoe Schneider won the 500 free and 400 IM. And then Zara Zalin, which I think is the coolest name ever, won the 100 and 200 freestyle. By my count, because MU Tigers, sorry to them, does a really bad job of keeping track of statistics. I keep track of them myself because I'm a lunatic. I think they had like 57 season best times. That's crazy. Or like, I just don't know if they just swam really slow at Purdue, but like Coach Grievers was very excited about how many people are swimming fast already this like in the middle of hard training. So next up, they're off this weekend, but next weekend the divers will head to Georgia Tech for an invitational. I do want to point, there's a lot of divers on the roster, and I actually really love that because one of the things with the NCAA revenue share thing was that the swimming and diving rosters got cut. And I was afraid that Mizzou was going to just like forego diving because that's what a lot of teams do, and actually they foregone a lot of swimmers on the men's side and have replaced them with divers. So yay, that's I feel like it's an easier way to get more points if you focus on that. So they'll be at that meet, and then they will all be back in Columbia for the Mizzou Invitational, which is November 20th through 22nd. So it sounds like that's just going to be just a busy weekend in Columbia for all the Olympic sports. And that will be their first prelim final meet of the year. So yeah, exciting stuff coming. I probably won't write anything about the diving. Honestly, I'll try to get to as much as I can of the Mizzou Invitational and then write up something after that. So that's all for me with swim and dive. Yay. Let's go to volleyball. You guys, we're making excellent time. I'm very proud of us. Levi will be so happy. Volleyball, Colin and Dylan. So, the Tigers, that was not great, you guys. Let's talk about it.
It was a split weekend for sure. Mizzou opened with its biggest win of the year, 4 sets over Tennessee. Looked like the better team throughout. Kaylin Alexander looked incredible during that match. Then the Sunday turnaround against Vanderbilt, they came out flat. All credit to Vanderbilt, though. Don Sullivan talked about it a lot. I also agree the team looked very good, much better than their record showed against Mizzou. I think that's probably the best game they've played all year. But unfortunately, the committee isn't going to be able to see that performance. All they got is the numbers. But it's a weekend that more or less cancels each other out, that Mizzou still finds itself on the bubble. I spoke with Sullivan today. So Kaylin Alexander was pulled from the Vanderbilt game in the first set. It was confirmed that was due to injury, and there was no timetable for her return. It doesn't sound like it's season ending, but I would be shocked if she's back by Kentucky. So I think that I'll let Colin give some of his thoughts, and then I have a couple more things that I have.
Yeah, going back to that stretch, it just seemed uncharacteristic because they were coming off that 7-game win streak and capped it off with their possibly best win of the season. And they fall there, but they could have easily dropped that in 3 sets, going down 2-0. They fought back in the third and the fourth to make it a match and only lost 16-14 in the fifth. So you at least fought back, and I think that was good to see. But I was unaware of the Alexander stuff until you said that. That is obviously just a huge hit. And, yeah, it's also strange. The Marina Crownover benching in Vanderbilt. Was it a benching, Dylan?
I wasn't able to confirm, but this is something we've seen before, where we've seen Crownover be benched in favor of the freshman Nina Mandovic, who I thought actually played a very good game in Vanderbilt. So I have no updates on Crownover's condition, but I would expect her to start against Kentucky and then see what happens there.
It almost seemed like she was just trying to inject some life into the team. So it was just like wholesale changes. Let's just throw other people in there and see what they can do. Because I wanted to mention and get your thoughts on Asia Harvey, because I thought she was fantastic. And I can't even recall seeing her at any other game or remembering her performance in any other game, but she was great against Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Asia Harvey stepped right up when Kaylin Alexander went out and played extremely well. Even in the middle, Trinity Luckett, who we haven't seen a lot of, also played extremely well in that match. Harvey was seen very much during the early season tournaments, the 3 games they were in Western Illinois against some of those non-tournament teams. She kind of racked up some stats, but now she's kind of taken less of a role to Demaray and Alexander as SEC play has kind of rolled on. But I think she's still an extremely talented player, someone who does have that very clear SEC capabilities. And so if they are without Alexander for the end of the season, I think we can talk about when we look towards SECs or NCAAs, but I think just in terms of winning matches against teams like Mississippi State, Alabama, I think Harvey, Paige Felder, even someone like McClare Morrissey, alongside Janet Demaray, of course, and your middles should be giving this team more than a decent enough shot. I think
Yeah, I
I'll
agree.
get into
I
this.
think
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, my bad, Dylan. I agree with the stuff on Asia Harvey. It was unsuspected, and obviously she still has the like inefficiency woes of a freshman. But I think on the other side as well, someone that's going to be important coming up is Maka Labaglio. She was a big reason for that win against Tennessee. Came down a little bit in that Vandy matchup, but I think going forward, especially with Alexander out, the setters could look to go to her more, and she's going to have to be on her A game to stay afloat and get a good seed for the the SEC and NCAA tournament.
Yeah, so what does that look like, you guys? Because
Yeah.
on the broadcast,
So,
they made it sound like Mizzou wasn't gonna make it.
so as of right now, Mizzou is number 46 in the RPI. When I checked last year, the last team in was Washington, also at 46. So as of right now, they're right on the bubble. This Kentucky match, in all honesty, they're probably going to lose. It's probably going to be in 3 sets, especially without Alexander. This Kentucky team is just that good. They just swept Texas. Unbelievable team. But if you can beat,
They're like 10 and 0 in the SEC, aren't they?
they're undefeated. It's absurd. But Mississippi State, Alabama, with some luck, right now they're looking at either a 5, 6, or 7 spot in the SEC tournament. And you really want to aim for that 5 spot because if you're playing that 5 spot, it's either going to be against Tennessee or Florida, who are good teams, but they're not quite on that level of the top 10 Texas, Texas A&M, Florida. So if they can kind of weasel their way into that top spot, into that 4 or 5, or the 4 or 5, yeah, the 5 range, 5 range, then I think they're giving themselves a shot to make it to the semifinals of the SEC tournament and a potential win over Florida or Tennessee, which I think, I don't want to say for certain, but I feel like you go 2-1 to end the regular season, and then you go to the SEC semifinals. That feels like more than enough to get them over the hump as, they don't call them seeds, but like an 11 seed in the NCAA tournament, one of those last teams in.
Okay. Yeah, so Thursday, big night, senior night. So the last home game of the regular season, and they're facing Kentucky, and you said you expect them to be swept
I think Mizzou is very
without
talented.
Alexander anyway.
Obviously I think senior night's going to bring out the best of this team. They're going to fight for every tooth and nail, but this Kentucky team has just been on a tear recently, and it doesn't seem like anyone's going to slow them down soon. I'm hoping for a real good atmosphere. I still think people will pop out to Hearns. I think this Mizzou team is still uber talented and will put up a good match. But I think it'll be kind of one when you're looking at records and when you're looking at NCAA tournaments, you're just kind of gloss over because this Kentucky team, when I check the RPI that I have brought up, they're 5, but it definitely feels like they should be higher. So it's a situation that, regardless of result, well, if they win, it's going to help them a lot. If they lose, they're not really moving down. So.
Mm-hmm. No, you went to practice today, right?
I saw a little bit of practice, then I got to interview Dawn right after, yes.
Okay. And what did she have to say?
Just a lot of just keep playing your game. Just a lot of working on serves, passes, in the middle. And so she mentioned the Kaylin Alexander news and just the idea that everyone's got to step up. And so there is talent, there's buy-in from the team. And so I think they just got to go out there and play their best volleyball and just not always, I guess, look at that scoreboard and just search for the best.
Play more like they did against Tennessee, where they looked awesome, than they did against Vanderbilt.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Vanderbilt's record was deceiving. I don't think that they're as bad as their record makes it seem like.
That was a
And I think that
Vanderbilt team
Mizzou is
played
better
down their
than
mind.
how they played against Vanderbilt. All right. Well, cool. Do you have another preview coming, Dylan, for
Yeah, talking about
the
senior
match
night.
Thursday?
Yeah, I'll be sharing some more of
Yeah.
direct quotes from Sullivan, some of my thoughts on, again, more directly who could step up, and I guess kind of quantifying more of these statistics as we head towards the final couple weeks of the season, so make it a little more digestible than all the word vomit I kind of spewed at y'all.
Never I'm intrigued. I mean, I love the volleyball team. My parents are coming to town. We're going to the game on Thursday. So they are very excited to see them in person. Awesome. Colin, you have anything else to add about volleyball?
If there's a time for Janet Demaray to step up, I think it's now. That's pretty much it.
I agree. I agree. Thanks, guys. All right. Next up, my favorite thing in the whole world. It used to be softball, believe it or not. Not anymore. It's gymnastics. I love this gymnastics team so much. I love the coaches so much. I love all of them so much. They're so much fun. So they had a 2-part inter-squad meet on Halloween morning. I skipped out of work to go over there and take my lunch at 10 o'clock in the morning to go watch them on vault and bars. And then we got to talk to a bunch of the athletes afterwards. And then Saturday, they did beam and floor. And then we got to talk to head coach Shannon Welker afterwards. So I typed up some thoughts so I don't go way over time. You guys, this team has so much depth. It is ridiculous. So on Friday, we saw 4 10.0 start value vaults, and that was with missing Elise Tisler, Kaya Tanskanen, who just got back from the World Championships and had a freak fingernail accident. So she did not participate in the meet. And then they also were without Olivia Kelly on vault because she was fighting sickness and sounded like she had a frog in her throat when we talked to her after the meet. There are probably 3 more 10.0 start value vaults in the works too. So that would put them at like 7. That is crazy. Whereas vault was a bit iffy last year and pretty inconsistent. It looks like it will be a real strength this year. I'm just remembering now that Henry covered gymnastics last year, so fellow gymnastics head on here with me. Balance beam looked amazing. It is going to be very tough for anybody new, I think, to work their way into lineup because it is stacked with people coming back from injury like Grace Ann Davis and Lauren McPherson, who are like 995 beamers. And then they still have back oh my gosh, Olivia Kelly, Rayleigh Jackson, Amy Weir, everybody. It's like it's crazy how good they looked. I was really impressed with the freshmen, which this was their first time performing in front of other people besides themselves. So, and they killed it. Freshman Kamara Eccles is going to be just unreal this year. She maybe end up, Shannon said that he thinks she could be the best freshman in the entire SEC, which is absolutely insane when you think about the other teams that are in the SEC, like the multi-time national champion Oklahoma, who just recruits 5-stars left and right. So Kamara's definitely one to keep an eye on. Bryce Cuppins had a really good beam, and Haley Westerlin also. And then we also saw Hannah Horton and Kennedy Griffin, who did not compete on beam last year. They both looked fantastic. Again, like I don't know how he's going to decide who gets to go on beam because everybody looked great. Lauren McPherson, Grayson Davis coming back from Achilles injuries. It was like they hadn't missed a step. Grace Ann will likely just do beam this year. They think they have enough depth on vault that they won't need her. So that's good because Achilles and vaults, the way you land, that's scary to me. So they just keep her on beam and she'll be amazing at that. And then Lauren McPherson is also doing bars. And she looked really good on Friday on that. Shannon Welker told us afterwards that he actually got kind of emotional seeing Lauren and Grace Ann back because they didn't really have, I mean, they're seniors, they're super, super seniors at this point. They didn't have to come back. They could have retired, left gymnastics, but they both saw how special the team is and were like, no, I'm coming back. Or was always amazing. I don't even know what else to say about that. Super deep lineup. It'll be really hard to get in that lineup too. My favorite thing is watching all the choreography and the dance music that Jackie Turpak has put together, because she has been a godsend to this program when she arrived 2 years ago. Hannah Horton, who famously did an Michael Jackson-inspired routine last year, has moved on to Tyler, the Creator. If you saw on social media, they now are referring to as Hannah, the Creator. So I thought that was kind of funny. Kennedy Griffin continues to progress through Beyonce's discography. I can't remember the years that Jackie told me that they're on now, but every year she's going to do more Beyonce choreography, so that's pretty cool. And then finally, bars. Going into the meet, I think that we thought that bars likely was going to be maybe their worst event this year, only because they lost 4/6 of their rotation to graduation. But it doesn't seem like there's any backsliding at all. They stuck their dismounts incredibly well. They just looked really impressive overall. They do some really interesting release moves that aren't super common in NCAA gymnastics. So that was really awesome to see. And because it just makes it more fun when you're not watching the same routine over and over again. So Mizzou's really good about that on really everything, just kind of trying to be a little bit different. And next up for them, December 12th at 6 p.m. at their new home, Mizzou Arena. Sorry, that was very shrill. Really excited to see them there. I'm really excited for Shannon to figure out how media is still going to get to sit on the floor. He told me he's working on it, because I'm not going to be relegated to sitting where the basketball media sits. That is just too far away. And I like to think that I can help get my way. As for what's next for me, I am going to hopefully finish up an inter-squad recap. I'm pretty well into it. I tend to go really long on those things, so I'm trying to cut it down now. And I am finishing up a thesis level analysis of leotards. I say that because I believe it's 5,800 words. Sophie, your eyes. It's a lot of words. I swear it doesn't read like that. There's lots of photographs in it. I talked to Whitney Snowden, the bars coach and the leotard guru, we'll call her, for like an hour and a half in early September. And she like took me through everything. So it'll be appreciated by a very niche audience. But I'd like to think it's like my finest work. I also encourage you to check out my Instagram. It's Karen Steger Designs, because I had posted a crap ton of content from the inter squad meet. I tried to be really creative and put together some edits of bars, dismounts, and different aspects of the beam routines and stuff like that. So that was really fun. Yeah, gymnastics. Woo, it's back. Okay. Now, to wrap this up, women's basketball with Dylan and Henry, and gosh darn it, Kelly Harper got a win. Thank God.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
Obviously looking back, we'll start at the exhibition. Maryville lose in overtime. Not a great start. But they were very clear. I think one of my favorite things that Harper said in that presser was that we keep talking about the mission, but now that they see what it's like to lose, they're going to come out stronger. They're going to come out swinging. And the Central Arkansas game was far from perfect. But again, in the presser, Kelly Harper said, a win is a win, and we're going to celebrate it no matter what. And they got the win. It was tied late. They went on a 7-0 run late. Jordana Reisma hit a clutch layup, a big hook shot from Jayla Smith to really help seal it away, and then some free throws. Speaking of the free throws, oh my God, I have never seen a team shoot more free throws in my life. They shot 45 of them. Shannon Dowell shot 23. Just an unreal way to get to the basket and just keep going, keep going. And so they really won the game at the free throw line. Shannon Dowell looked like the best player out there, which I think shocked a lot of people. Me a little bit, but I think we might be looking at having that conversation of, is she better than Grace Slaughter this year? My money's on yes at this stage. She looked great. Jordana Reisma had her spots. Grace Slaughter started slow, but she got going. So Central Arkansas is also no slouch.
Really,
They
like,
won.
alarmingly slow.
Yeah. Central Arkansas won the ASUN regular season title last year, just missed out on the tournament. So this is another good quality team. So while, again, it's a mid-major, this is a good mid-major team that Mizzou beat. So whenever you can put a win in the win column, good things will happen. So, again, this is a team just starting to gel, just starting to work together. So I'm 2 thumbs up from my performance. Obviously, there's still things to be cleaned up, but we can work on that later. What do you got, Henry?
Yeah, I definitely agree. Coming away from that, even after that loss against Maryville, I just think the 2 obvious main bright spots were Shannon and Jordana for me, especially Jordana. I mean, especially coming back from being hurt, like the way she was down the court, it didn't look like she was going to come back into the game at that point. And then she comes back in again in an exhibition where she didn't have to come back in and play, and then still puts in a really good offensive performance for them, and then continue that obviously against Central Arkansas. So, and then obviously Grace is a positive, but I think those 2 are kind of more, I guess, intriguing in a sense, because like Grace, we've seen her do it time and time again. So I just think, especially from like the angle of what Dylan's saying, especially like a new coming player already establishing herself as maybe a better player than Grace. I mean, it can only really help Mizzou to have just more scoring depth overall for the rest of the season.
They will need it. They play a very hard schedule.
Yeah, and in addition, it was revealed that Avery Kroenke will miss the season with a lower body injury. A concern that I had coming into the season is that Mizzou only rostered 13 players. Usually for basketball, you'll see it at around the 15 mark. Harper said that she usually carries 13 and doesn't have an issue. Well, as of right now, they only have 9 healthy players, as Hannah Linthicum, Sanaya Tyler, and Sydney Maines are all battling smaller injuries. So Kroenke's done for the year. She's out. Those other players are expected to be back sooner rather than later, but no exact time frame was given.
Hope so.
The Harper said Sanaya Tyler would be back first, because it's a fairly minor injury, which is important, because Tyler and Kroenke are both their primary point guards. They had Lisa Thompson play that role early on, but kind of shifted to more of a I guess just no set point guard. They would use Shannon Dowell taking the ball up a lot of the time, or someone like Jayla Smith. So it's good that they have diverse skill sets from all their players, but when you look at the 9 on the roster, they're going to have to find ways and get creative with how they can mix up the looks, and hopefully they get healthy sooner rather than later, because this has been an issue, especially in women's college basketball, where a lot of players get hurt and they have to take walk-ons, and if you have walk-ons playing any more than 5 minutes, maybe even 2 minutes for you, you're probably not going to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I know that yesterday when you had told me about Avery, I was just like, oh crap, who's the point guard? It's Sanaya Tyler. Oh wait, she's not back either. And I'm really excited to see Sanaya Tyler play, because she was really good at Kentucky. And I know she was like relegated to like a bench role once Georgia Amore got there. But the year before the new coach came, she was really good, and I am really excited to see her play. So I hope that they need her, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
Henry.
Yeah, I think
thoughts?
for Avery, I was just on Avery. It kind of definitely sucks to see that, especially going out at the beginning of 2023 and 24, and then having that similar setback again. Yeah, obviously don't wish that really on anybody. I think, yeah, because we definitely talked a lot about the positives from that game. I think the only kind of dauntingly negative thing was kind of similar to Maryville, and that was turnovers. So I think, and then Tulane's obviously, we'll get to them more later, but I think Tulane's a team that heavily capitalizes on errant mistakes like what Mizzou has kind of done in their first 2 games. So I think that's definitely something if they're, looking to put in a good performance. They're just definitely going to have to just find ways to try to just cut down on just turning the ball over.
I was hoping that would go away with a new coach, but then I kind of have to stop myself and think this is basically a wholesale new team.
Mm-hmm.
They play like they don't really know each other that well, and that will take time for them to get together and for it to all mesh better. So I feel like maybe we'll see it get better each time, I'm hoping. I don't know.
I think it's definitely a case as the season continues. Hopefully they're getting healthier and becoming more connected. So what I interpret this as is a team that's still kind of meshing together, that they will get better as the season goes along and not worse, which I feel like is something we saw especially last year with Pinchton's team. It just felt like they kind of kept dropping off the longer the season went. So hopefully, again, they can continue to improve as the season moves along. As Henry alluded to, first road test at Tulane.
Yeah.
So it looks like, I'm guessing anyway, since Mizzou played Tulane last year, that this is like a home and home type of situation. So last year Tulane came into Columbia and Mizzou won 60-52 with an entirely different team anyway. Tulane finished the season 22-13. They fell in the second round of the WNIT to Southern Indiana. They have 6 returnees and 8 newcomers this season. Anything else we want to say about Tulane and what we're hoping that the Tigers will focus on Thursday on their first true road matchup?
Well, I'll let you start it off, Henry.
Yeah, I guess from a positive standpoint for Mizzou, Tulane had a major issue with turnovers last year as well. I mean, they averaged a lot per game, and I just think, but a disadvantage for Mizzou is definitely the amount of depth they have at the guard and the amount of challenges that could present defensively, and just I think wear and tear overall Mizzou. I mean, if they're running 9 against a team that might be running 13 or 14, I mean, that's something you're going to have to battle against consistently. And yeah, I'm interested to see how Kelly Harper kind of attacks that. Kind of an interesting thing I want to ask Dylan about too is what he thinks of I guess the differences in the press conferences maybe so far from the coaching kind of transition since that's happened, especially after early adversity too to a season.
Yeah, I think Kelly Harper is more forthright with a lot of her comments. I think again, coach speak, it's easy to get lost in it, but I think Kelly Harper's not afraid to say, we got our butts kicked in this category. We didn't look good in this category. Here's what we're going to do to fix it. And so it feels a lot more solution-oriented just from one game. But yeah, I think as a whole that, again, Robin Pinchton had left some to be desired. That's one way to put it. And so I think that Kelly Harper, at least for now, is checking off the boxes. She's been on the recruiting trail a hell of a lot more. Really good start there, which we have barely even talked about. 3 4-stars in a week. My goodness. So they appear to be in a good place for the future. And for the now, they seem to have built a team that has the potential to gel and work together that was kind of built in one off season while still keeping some of your key pieces like an Abby Schreck and a Grace Slaughter. So I would say, again, this year it's all about hope, it's all about potential, but just continuing to put your best foot forward every time you step out on the court. So
I still think that she was the best choice of coach for Mizzou. And I we'll put it on record that I was clamoring for her to be hired as soon as she got fired from Tennessee. I was the number one Kelly Harper fan. So I'm glad that they got her. And, like, her outfit last night was great. With her leather pants and her tiger top. I loved it. I know you guys are all very concerned with this, but I was. I was like, yes. I like it when the coaches dress up, just like how Dennis Gates is always wearing a suit, even during an exhibition game. So it's cool. I don't know. So yay, you guys, we have made it through our first episode. Hey, it's under 50 minutes. Gotta tried as hard as we could. Sorry, it's probably my fault. So thank you to all the people that will watch this later for following along. Please read all of our content at rockmnation.com. Follow us on Twitter, which is probably still the most used by all of us. I am trying to use the RockM Instagram more. And then we started a TikTok for football season, and we're trying to amp that up a little bit too. So follow us on all the places. If you guys, when you do your wonderful writing for the site, if you post it to your Instagram grid, please tag RockM Nation as a collaborator, and then it can post for us too. So that would be really great. Thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you to the people that will watch this. And we'll see you, I don't know when, next time. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to RockM Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. RockM Radio is the official podcast network of RockM Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of RockM Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of RockM Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find RockM Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of RockM Radio coming to you soon.